Makeup icon Bobbi Brown has hilariously shaded a TikToker, not with makeup, but with video content. Tayler Holder has denied sexual assault allegations. A TikToker has had to have a foreign object surgically removed from her bottom, and it's the return of Question of the Week. All this plus don't panic. Cara Delevingne is right behind you right now. Don't make any sudden moves. I don't think she's seen you. She's probably just foraging for cocaine. On this week's edition of YouTuber News, hosted by me, Benedict Townsend, and brought to you by PopBuzz, the only website that once made Dove Cameron say this.
If you can't get over him, babes, think of him getting his hair cut in the stupid little cape. Yeah. And it's over.
Massive.
And I was like,
Wow. A nice bit of cross promo. Our first story, Bobbi Brown, the makeup icon, has taken to TikTok to shade a fellow creator who has some strange makeup habits. Meredith Duxbury, a beauty TikToker with millions of followers, posted a video where she took a massive clump of foundation, just like a handful of mud, and just smothered it all over her face like some kind of demented villain. Now, I don't know a lot about makeup, all of my makeup is tattooed, but I know this. That's a crime against beauty, sis. Particularly because, as we all know, this particular Bobbi Brown foundation, or whatever foundation it was, is the one that you're meant to put on like very little. It's meant to just be a light application. So to put on so much of it, Jesus Christ. Now, Bobbi Brown, who, by the way, Bobbi Brown is apparently on TikTok, posted one video with the caption, "How did I do? Applying Jones Road light to medium coverage, what the foundation?" And in the video, Bobbi Brown took some foundation and, much like the woman, took a big clump of it in her hand and just started smearing it all over her face, mocking this woman for her crazy foundation antics. Now, one commenter said, quote, "I mean, her video made your sales soar. Rather, she liked it." Sorry, I'm just trying to, in real time, translate this comment. I mean, her video made your sales soar. I'm guessing whether she liked it or not, you should be putting her on you or your team. Which is the classic internet argument of like, actually, this thing that was bad is actually good. And aren't you an idiot for thinking that it was bad because I've twisted it in a way where it's now good? I don't know about you, but when I see someone just taking a huge clump of disgusting foundation and basically eating it, I think that's the product I need to buy. To this comment, Robert Brown replied, quote, "Respectfully, we are not in the business of selling underperforming products. We want everyone to love what they buy and enjoy using these products," which is a polite corporate way of saying, shut up in your face. Anyway, good luck to Meredith, good luck to Bobbi. Hope they're keeping well, love to the families, and hey, shout out to Foundation. Now, before we move on, I should address the rat in the room, and that is that, you know, I did spend weeks, some would say months, talking about how I was going to enter Eurovision. We would be putting together a Eurovision song. I'd be representing UK and then Ratland and all this stuff. And then, you know, some of the more eagle-eyed among you who watched Eurovision at the weekend noticed that we weren't there. Not that you could see. And I think that speaks to how much people are not looking these days. We were there, maybe not in the form of people, but you know when the European presenters, where English is always a fifth language, and they do like great banter with each other that seems mostly improvised and seems to go on for far too long? Who do you think writes that? This guy. You know, they'll be there and they'll kind of pause like this because they're obviously getting a message in their ear from someone going like, you need to stall for literally 1 minute. And then they're like, Joseph, shall I teach you how to do a heart symbol with your hands? And he's like, you're crazy for this one, Magda. And it goes on for like a really long time. I'm writing that in real time. I'm in the other ear, they've got 2 earpieces. I'm in the other earpiece. And I'm like, just keep grabbing each other. Make it uncomfortable. So yeah, I guess we were at Eurovision. And yeah, I think I'd say we won. Another YouTuber News plotline perfectly resolved. Beginning, middle, and end. You know, the trick with these things, hey, Game of Thrones writers, take note. The trick is to plan the ending from the beginning. Okay. Our second story. Tayler Holder, a man whose name is spelled wrong, has taken to a podcast to insist that he does not have any sexual assault allegations against him. Now, this may seem like a strange thing to do, and it is, but it all stems from something we covered previously on this show, which was a weird spate of other influencers all suddenly unfollowing Tayler for no apparent reason, leading many to think that he was about to be imminently cancelled, and because it's the internet, and because he's a TikToker, everyone just kind of jumped to sexual assault based on, as far as I can tell, kind of basically nothing because we're all insane. Keemstar made a number of claims that apparently he had proof that he committed sexual assault. Shockingly, those Keemstar claims seemed unfounded and went nowhere. There was also a police report that went round. That turned out to be fake. Nothing, as far as I can tell, there was nothing ever really put forward about this. Nevertheless, he persisted, and Tayler went on a TMZ podcast and really affirmed that he'd never been accused of anything by a person, never been approached by law enforcement or whatever. He did say that his team was in contact with someone that they said was the source of the rumors, and they said, hey, well, if that's true, you know, sue us, and that person never sued them. But Tayler perhaps needs to Google the Streisand effect, because this interview is not going to do, I think, what he wants it to do. If you don't want people to think you've committed sexual assault, maybe don't do a podcast appearance where you talk at length about how you're not guilty of that. I'm not accusing you of anything, it's just a very strange PR way of doing that. Like, if someone was like, Ben, you've killed a dog, I wouldn't be like, me? A dog killer? Everyone's calling me a dog killer. Well, I'm not. No dog's killed by me. That being said, Oreo the dog is missing and we're not going to question that. If you want to look up in the encyclopedia other examples of the Streisand effect, you've got Shane Dawson talking at length about how he didn't come on his cat, which shockingly made a lot of people think, that guy's probably come on his cat. Why does he keep going on about it so much? Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment. No, not that one. It's time for Question of the Week. All right, last week I asked you a question, a very pertinent question, and there were some great answers, some really insightful answers, and here are some of them. Emma said, yes, I do think wearing sunglasses indoors should be considered a felony crime in Ratland. I'd have to agree. Rory McGee, it's not a real person's name, I personally think that yes, the Rat and Benny Boys should be a headliner act at the Edinburgh Fringe with their famous trapeze act. Kerry, aka Irish, says, I am. Yes. Yes, you are! Ha ha ha, some great answers there. Now it's time for this week's question, which is as thus. Listen carefully, everyone move forward and listen really. What is the greatest time? So get your answers in for that next week on our YouTube comments, or tweet us at YouTuber News. And finally, we have a somewhat breaking story, although that's not the only thing that broke in this story. A woman's arse. This is a TikToker named Soph Zalofs, who is from the UK, and in the video she shared, inexplicably, you know how people just share things online? You don't have to do that, but she got a, well, I don't know if this is a family show, maybe I should describe this carefully. So she had a thing, an aerodynamically designed thing, which was 3 inches long, so well above average, and she placed that in her rectum, and it was buzzing around as it's wont to do, not because it's a bee, it's something else. But unfortunately, it did get stuck in her arse. Now, she has kids, and she didn't want to go to the hospital to have this dealt with because the kids were sleeping. So she just went to sleep with this in her arse while it was still buzzing. And apparently she said, quote, I eventually did fall asleep. I woke up and it was off. So one would assume the battery had died. One would assume. That was very wrong of me to assume. So then she finally went to the hospital the next day and they x-rayed her, and there is a crazy x-ray of it inside her. Can we show that? I don't know if that's gross. Are x-rays gross? Well, there it is. Yeah, so then she had it surgically removed from her because it was really stuck. And then in her drug-addled state after the surgery, she saw it in a little dish next to her in a plastic bag. And she decided to check if it still worked. And she turned it on and it did still work, leading her to say, quote, I think it must have had some cool technology as part of its spec, you know? It must have had a self-timer, you know? That's good. The biggest takeaway from this story is that vibrator tech has really come along these days, and we should all be proud. And with that, we come to the end of another installment of YouTuber News. I'm Benedict Townsend, and you can catch the show on Snapchat Discover and also on YouTube. If you haven't already, subscribe by hitting subscribe on YouTube or by swiping up on the last snap of this story. You can also catch us on @YouTuber News Talk on TikTok, or some TikTok antics as well. Look after yourselves, have a great week, and remember, this Saturday night, if you want to spare your family, leave a little plate of cocaine outside your front door, and Cara Delevingne will pass by peacefully. Goodbye.